sculptures or these idols, when you see them, تَتَذَكَّرُوا أَحْوَالَهُمْ, you will remember how they were very much involved in worshipping Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala alone. How they were strong in worshipping Allah Ta'ala. How they were relentless of worshipping Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. How they were restless about worshipping Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So if you do so, وَتَنْشِطُ عَلَى الْعِبَادَةِ, so that will give you what is called, barakallahu fikum, the enthusiasm. It will give you the stamina to worship Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. It is exactly no difference as you find, barakallahu fikum, people doing today. You'll find them having a big old picture of Ahmad Bamba or a big old picture of the Sufi Shaykh. They will have it in their homes. So they will say, and not only that, but every one of them now, disciples, they will have a small ID picture ID of their Shaykh, and they will hang it on their necks. They will hang it on their necks. Right? They will have a small picture ID of their Shaykh, and they will hang it on their necks. For what? The same thing that the shaitan was telling those in the video. Make their pictures, build their statues and whatnot. So therefore, when you place them, alaikum salam, when you place them in your gathering, in the places where you'll be sitting around. So whenever you see those suwar, he said, تَتَذَكَّرُوا أَحْوَالَهُمْ, you will remember their situation. You will remember their level state. You will remember how they were worshipping Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So when you remember how they were worshipping Allah, then that will give you the stamina to worship Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Wasn't that a trick? Huh? Big time. It was a trick. Because the shaitan is not a nasihun amin. He will lie, he say, Inni lakum nasihun amin. I am a very sincere advisor to you. He lying. He is lying. He is lying. This is why, alhamdulillah, as we study, from the jihad, you have the jihadu al-shaytan. You have from the anwa'ul jihad al-khamsa, you have jihadu al-shaytan. كيف نجاهد الشيطان? How do we strive against the shaitan? How do we strive against the shaitan? Abba Ibrahim. Right? نعم إذا أمرتك بشيء تخالفه. If he command you anything, you oppose him. And if he prohibits you, you do it. If he commands you, you don't do it. If he prohibits you, you do it. This is how a person will fight against the shaitan. So Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan hafidhahullah, he's giving us a little tarikh, a little historical note in regard to the people, to how shirk came to be. Meaning the first time that shirk came to be on the earth, on the face of the earth. So therefore, upon that advice, فَقَامُوا وَصَوَّرُوا صُوَرُ هَؤُلَاءِ الْمَوْتِ. So upon hearing that advice of the shaitan, that they got up and they executed exactly the advice of the shaitan. Now they built all those idols, all those statues, they built it up. طيب. وَنَصَبُوهَا عَلَى الْمَجَالِسِ, and they placed it on their gathering sites. They place them on their gathering sites. Right? They place them on their gathering sites. So فَلَمْ تُعْبَدْ فِي أَوَّلِ الْأَمْرِ. But the very first matter, the very first time, the very first a period of time, they were not being worshipped. It was just to what? To look at them. And so they will have, it will give them a little bit of inspiration. It will give them a little bit of inner strength, right? To worship Allah more. Right? A little inner strength to worship Allah more. So at first they were not being worshipped at all. He say, but why they were not worshipped? Because li wujudil ulama. Because at that time also, they were what? They were people that were knowledgeable. They were knowledgeable. Alladhina yubayyinuna linnas. Those who used to clarify to the people at-tawheed. Those who used to clarify what? At-tawheed. وَيُنْكِرُونَ الشِّرْكِ. And they used to repel and warn against that which is shirk. So at first the people did not worship those idols. They did not worship those idols. Why? Because you have ulama that was present. And that shows, barakallahu fikum, the wadifa of Ahlul Ilm, the responsibility and the task. And that which, alhamdulillah, is what is sought from the alim. It is what, barakallahu fikum, and yubayyinu linnas, to clarify to the people the affairs of tawheed, the matters of the Islamic monotheism, the matters of singling out Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala in worship. وَيُنْكِرُونَ الشِّرْكِ. And they are what? They are shunning and they are warning against that which is disbelief and polytheism. فَلَمَّا مَاتَ الْعُلَمَاء. And when the scholar died, when those scholars died, what's going to happen now? Huh? Right. When the shaitan when the scholars die, who was remaining on the earth now? Ignorant worshippers. They love to worship, but upon ignorance. They love to worship, but upon ignorance. Who are those they love to worship, but upon ignorance? Manhum. Who are those who love to worship upon ignorance, but they upon ignorance? They love to worship, but upon ignorance. Mustafa. Huh? Right there, many types of disbelievers. You got the Hindu, you got the rat worshippers, you got the Buddhist, you got the fire worshipper, you got the angel worshipper, you got the Christian worshippers, you got I'll say Christian worshippers. You got the Christians, right? But who are those who they love to worship upon ignorance? Abdullah. They do too. Yes. Ahlul Bid'ah, they do too. Right? The Ahlul Bid'ah, they do. They love to, some of them love to worship but upon ignorance. Like the people of Tasawwuf. Yeah, some of them, they love to worship but upon ignorance. You find some of the individual, these deviant groups, they might love to worship but they upon ignorance. The Christians. The Christians, they worship upon what? Upon ignorance. That's why they call what? They call They call? They call? No. They call? Ad-Dallin. 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 Ad-Dallin are those who went astray. Went astray. Why? Because what? They do action without ilm. The first one was what? Al-Maghdubin alayhim. Those who they what? They have the knowledge, but they don't put forth the actions. But then who was the other group then? Who are the other group then, Shakil? No, the Yahud are the one that they have knowledge, but they don't put forth the action. The Christian, the second one, they are the one. They don't have no knowledge, but they want to do actions. So there is one group remaining. Think deep. Tabligh, they are daif, jiddan, but not in this. Same, we mentioned them. The mu'minun, the Muslims. Right? Because they what? The mu'min, the believer, he will join knowledge and actions. He will join, we will say action knowledge and action. The Christian, he don't care about knowledge. He will just, build him a big old cross and be dragging it, right? And get somebody to be striking them, right? The Yahud, they have knowledge, but they want to just sit on it. They want to sit on that knowledge. They don't want to put no actions. Huh? Yeah, they just carry it. They just carry it. They just carry it. They ain't got no use for it. You know what I mean? No carry. But the Christians, what do? They put forth a lot of actions. That's why you find them building some monasteries. You find them building some, monasteries, right? Church, and synagogue. That's for the Jew, right? Cathedrals and all of that, and even how they confine themselves in those buildings, right? Where it will be all men, or buildings where they be all women, and they will, prevent themselves from the monks, right? And where they will prevent themselves from, that which Allah has made permissible, halal for the human beings. They want to transgress that. Why? Because we want to worship. You're harming yourself. Right? So the third group is, alhamdulillah, those who they combine both knowledge and action. So therefore, when that generation died, when that generation died, he mentioned فَلَمَّا مَاتَ الْعُلَمَاء وَذَهَبَ الْجِيلُ الْأَوَّلِ. He say when the scholars, they died, and the first generation was gone. He say, Ja'a, another generation came, Jilul Mutaakhir, another generation came, وَقَدْ مَاتَ الْعُلَمَاء, after the death of the scholars. Now guess what? جاء الشيطان إليهم فقال لهم. Shaitan came right back at them and he told them these things. Who is he telling this? Huh? The later generation that were what? Ignorant. The later generation that was ignorant. This is what he told them. Inna aba'akum. That you want to know the reality of the statues? Now let me tell you the reality of the statues. He said, Inna aba'akum, your forefathers or your fathers, ma nasabu hadhihi as-suwar aw as-sura illa liya'buduha. They did not build these idols or these sculptures except that they were worshipping them. Except that they were worshipping them. So when the first righteous one died, what did Shaitan come? He came to say, what? You know what? I know you guys were very sad. That's why, barakallah fikum, a person has to have a good advisor. Because if you have the wrong advisor at the time you are down, listen, that can be very detrimental for your decisions. Huh? It can be very detrimental, barakallah fikum, for your decisions. And that goes along for, this is something that our wives need to hear. This is something that our wives need to hear. Of course, a husband and wife, sometimes they will bump head. That's very natural. The only one that will not have word with his wife is the one that is single. The only one that will be always pleasing with his wife is the one that doesn't have one yet. If you have it, you're going to have some tough times with it sometimes. Anybody? Right? This is a reality. Right? That's the reality. But if at the time that barakallah fikum, you and wifey, alhamdulillah, is not pulling, right? I mean, listen, this is a pair of shoes that all of us wear. It just depends on what size you're wearing.